Christian Jorgensen, has an MD title on it, but my well-known name is Mort. And my classification was medicine/vascular surgery.
And how long have you been a Rotarian now?
I came into Rotary in 1973.
So it's working out for you, okay.
Quite well.
And what got you interested in Rotary in the first place back in the 70s?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I was trying to think about that. In high school, I'd been a key clubber, so I knew Kiwanis fairly well. And then after I got out of the Navy, I joined an older fellow who was very active in Kiwanis. And he said, well, we don't want two Kiwanis in the office. You join Rotary. Well, his son was a member of the club, George Harbaugh, and George sponsored me, and I came in then. George Gildred was president at the time, and he was sort of an inspiration too. George was a classmate of mine.
You were also past president, if I'm not mistaken.
I was in 83, 84.
Give me an idea of the things that you are most proud of that year, or one of the accomplishments that you thought the club did that sticks out in your mind.
Well, you know, the main thing, of course, was stay the course. I wasn't there to rock the boat and make major changes or anything like that. I did want for it to be fun, and consequently I came up with something that I brought down from the hospital called Over the Ether Screen, where the anesthesiologist would tell us a story, or we would tell him the story while we're doing a case. And I related these to the group as the latest joke that came over the ether screen. I suppose a writer would say it came over the transom. We had a lot of fun with those, and a lot of people would say, well, what are you going to have over the ether screen this time? So I wanted it to be a fun kind of a situation. I had fun with Herb Stecklein, who was a retired Rear Admiral Medical Corps, who was the one who sent me to Vietnam back in 1966. So I fined him very generously one time. Got even with him. I always talked about my Uncle Sven from Norway and made him the brunt of jokes. My dad was actually Danish, but Uncle Sven from Norway seemed a little more fitting. And so everybody liked hearing about Uncle Sven as well. Rudy Brewster had started a thing where he was calling people a brick when they became a Paul Harris Fellow. And I think he wanted to make a brick wall. I don't know how far that wall got. But then it kind of went into a SAG mode, so I came up with what I call the Brick of the Week program. And you know how in the Rotator every week they have published the birthdays. So I would call one of those guys and nail him to become a sustaining member as a Brick of the Week. And we did very well with that, and it got the thing going again, so because it was languishing after Rudy had it started there. So I was very happy with that. Another thing I really enjoyed was the fact that Joe Howard, who wrote our history book and the subsequent 10-year later copy, I said to Joe, you know, we're the mother club in San Diego, Club 33. We're an old one, but we have a lot of clubs around town that we have sponsored, who in turn have sponsored clubs. So I said, Joe, how about developing a family tree of this? And they did, but they came up with a unique one. It was a circular family tree. I'd never seen that before. So we were in the middle, and all the clubs that we spawned were in a circle around us, and in turn they radiated out from that. But then what was nice was, at the time of their anniversary, each club was visited by a member of the history committee who presented them with the family tree for their benefit. So I liked that. You know, it wasn't an earth shaker, but it was a good fellowship thing. I had a couple failed projects that looked like they were going to be good, but they dwindled out. One was a thing called Handy Capables, where people with disabilities, but who were very capable, would kind of visit with Rotarians and see what they could do and get boosted along. That kind of died a morning. The other thing was a drug policy that the captain of the USS Abraham Lincoln had this policy on board the ship, and he was retiring, and he offered to work with Rotary to keep it going. But that didn't.
Real quick, in the short time we've got left, I'm just curious, what keeps you involved with Rotary then? What do you still get out of it?
You know, I have an awful lot of friends there, people that I've one, grown up with, and two, I've grown to know through Rotary. And of course the speaker programs by and large are very, very good. Every once in a while you have a clinker, but that happens. Oh, I remember one of the things that came up. In my year, we had Ted Leitner was going to be a speaker. And everybody was all set, and then some secretary of this or that, I don't know if it was Navy or Interior, he came out and we bumped Ted Leitner. And Ted had TV commentary at that time. Just blistered us all to get, you know. Well, we rolled with that punch, and then next year Ernie, who was president, Ernie Yankee, re-invited Ted Leitner. And they even sent a limo out to pick him up. But on his TV program, Leitner said, they sent a limo to pick me up, but they took me back in a Volkswagen. I actually have some VHS tape of both those interchanges, so they're fun to share.
That's terrific.
Yeah. They were good laughs over the years and, you know, hard work. We lost some good members during my tenure and picked up a lot of good members.
For kind of what you'd like Rotary to be in the future, any thoughts on that, or things that you would want Rotary to kind of continue to emulate?
Well, you know, the Camp Enterprise is just a jewel, and as we run it, I think it's just a marvelous jewel. I was exposed recently to the Reagan Ranch and the Young Americas Foundation, and what they do is very much an interdigitation with what we do with our Camp Enterprise. And I'm working on getting a lady from their national office to come out and speak and talk about what they do and see how it dovetails with our Camp Enterprise thing. I think there's room for one hand to wash the other there.
I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
No.
So I think that'd be great. Any other lasting parting words before we wrap this up?
Oh, just keep having a good time. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing.
Good words to live by. Mort, thanks so much for your time.